Hey, greetings. This is Fred in Alaska. Thanks for joining me. Beautiful sunny day here in Alaska. It's just a little cold when we don't have the cloud cover. Temperatures drop. Luckily, not too horrible. We're around 15. I was gonna take a walk, but it's a bit too bitter for that. Want to give Bobby in South Carolina a shout out. Happy birthday coming up on Friday the 24th. Appreciate your support of the channel, buddy. Hope you have a good birthday. What I want to share with you today is from Nunapitchuk. That's that small village west of Bethel. Vincent from there had shared the Hairy Man experience with us with the photos and the tundra and whatnot. Well, this one here involves little people in the fog. Now, from what was told to me, this happened in the 90s on the Johnson River there. There was fog in this one area of the river, and these two schoolgirls were on their way home, and they happened to cut through the fog there at that portion of the river. And as they were going into the fog, they saw the silhouette of like a familiar shape, like someone they may know. They attempted to talk to the person, but the person didn't talk, didn't show his face. Stayed just out of showing its face and whatnot. Really acted weird. So they continued on, and this thing started throwing slushy ice at them to where they felt they were soaked through from all the snow and ice and stuff. Now, while that was going on for them, simultaneously a couple older women from the village were on snow machine going into the same fog bank because they saw the two girls. Now, when they came into the fog bank, they attempted, because they knew the girls, they attempted to talk to the girls, but the girls, according from what they saw, were ignoring them basically, like they weren't being talked to. And the snow machine itself was acting up. It was running, but it was like something was stopping them from being, because at one point they were half and full throttle, but still going very slowly through this fog. So simultaneously you have these two girls having what appears to them to be ice chunks and stuff being thrown at them from this figure, to at the same time these ladies coming into the fog on a snow machine, feeling ignored by the girls. But unbeknownst to either side, the girls were trying to figure out who was on the snow machines, because they didn't recognize them. There was something about the fog going on to where their perception, they were given an illusion. And that's the words used to express it. They were given the illusion of this person throwing ice and snow at them, watery ice and snow, and then the illusion that they didn't recognize the people on the snow machine. They saw the figures on the snow machine, but did not recognize them, even though they're members of the same family. So it was really weird. And the fact that the ladies on the snow machine were feeling ignored by the younger girls, they were a bit upset about that, because typically that doesn't happen. You just don't ignore your elders, you know, in the village. It's just not something that happens usually. And so once they cleared the fog, the snow machine operated just fine. They no longer felt like they were being slowed down in a way. It seemed artificially slow. They were given the illusion they weren't making it anywhere, kind of thing. So all this happens, and the girls, you know, get out of the fog. They make it home, and they're trying to tell their parents, I'm soaking wet, I'm cold, but they were dry. They were given the illusion in the fog that they actually got wet from the slushy ice balls being thrown at them and stuff. And so, of course, there's a lot of confusion. The lady, the two older women on the snow machine, of course, being relatives, phone calls were made, and, you know, to get to the bottom of what was going on. And then that's when they were able to piece together both sides of one feeling ignored, one not recognizing. Now, while shortly after that happened, there was a villager on one side of the fog and a villager on the other. They were friends. The one villager saw in the fog his friend. His friend hadn't gone into the fog yet, though. So he walks in thinking he's going to see his buddy and say hi. He walks into the fog, gets up in there, and then the illusion disappeared that he was seeing, and he saw a 3-foot tall little person, couldn't make out the features, long arms, long nails. I'm trying to remember the exact word we used to call it back home, Sinksy or something along those lines in the native language. I'll get clarification on that in the future. So he sees the reality of what it was and bolted out. That happens. His friend that thinks he sees him in the fog, same thing. He comes into the fog. Illusion goes away. It's not his buddy. It's this same little person. Freaks out, gets out of Dodge. And you know, I was inquisitive. I was asking, is there any other historical, incidences of anything associated with the fog? And according to what was told to me, is that fog was just in that one section on the Johnson River there, which, gosh, it would have to be a very strong type of illusion going on for these girls to feel soaking wet, to the point where they were so freaked out when they got home. It was almost like they're still saying they're wet when, the parents are like, you're not wet, you're dry. They had to almost like snap out of that illusion. And gosh, just really creepy stuff. When I was little and I would hear stories about the little people back home, it was very similar in description. Long arms, long nails usually. And then you have the other aspect of that on January 17th. You're supposed to cover your mirrors and what have you, because the veil is thinner on that night. And I still haven't gotten an answer to why. So maybe if someone from back home or someone else watching knows why it's tied into that date, maybe you can, shine some light on that, get a hold of me, or leave it in the comments. Also, there's another little people story I wanted to share. This comes from off the Nushagak River, I guess it would be upriver from Portage Creek to the east side of the Nushagak River. Now, there's a place called Jim Slough, where there's just little slough on just branches off of the river a little ways. Good pike fishing in there, by the way. Just great northern pike, huge. Looks like sunken logs in there. Anyway, there's an old dilapidated log cabin there. One of my relatives, when I was younger, we were there, and he was telling us how the last time he was there, he saw a gray little person, in all gray like furs, like maybe rabbit or something along those lines. Fur with long arms, and it drug him on the ground. And now he was inside this cabin when there's no roof on it, and at the top of the wall, this thing was peeking over at him at first when he first noticed it. And then it came down on the ground. He saw it run. He shot at it with his .22. He said it ducked into under a log, and when it came out of under the log on the other side, it was a rabbit, and it hopped off. Yeah, just something about the little people stories that is just so creepy, because like those members of that family, in Nunapitchuk, to be projected an illusion in your mind that you're getting wet, you don't recognize your own relatives just right there on a snow machine, to those on the snow machine being affected in that way to where they don't, the snow machine ain't operating properly, and they're given the illusion that they're being ignored. And then for those poor guys thinking they're going in to say hi to but I'm not trying to make light of it. I'm just mentally trying to picture going, hey, buddy. And then all of a sudden it's not your friend. Just creepy as hell. Man. Anyway, again, Bobby, happy birthday. I hope you have a good one. Keep your boys safe. And, let's see, was there anything else? Trying to remember. I have other little people stories. I just I had to call a couple times to get the one from Nunapitchuk to make sure I had it in chronological order. Gosh, just creepy stuff. I couldn't imagine running in the fog, going to say hi to my buddy, and all of a sudden it's not my buddy. It's this little creature with long arms. You know, it kind of makes you wonder exactly what are you dealing with, you know? Obviously there's got to be a spiritual aspect to that for supernatural things to happen in those instances. Kind of makes you wonder, you know. There's so much we don't know. Anyway, just random thoughts. Thanks again. Thanks for joining me, and we'll catch you on the next one.